Good morning, first graders. It is Wednesday. Mrs. Little's back again to talk to you today about insects. So our essential question this week is, what insects do you know and how are they alike and different? So far this week, we have heard or read two fantasy stories, right? We heard Creep Low, Fly High, which was very cartoonish. It was a story about insects and some of their feelings and how they change. And then yesterday we heard Fly Guy, which of course was about a boy who tries to make a pet out of a fly, and who kind of has to deal with his mom and dad and judges in a pet show, thinking that's such a silly thing to do. But in the end, he ends up keeping Fly Guy, which he named him, and they become good friends. So today we're going to hear a different type of text. Today we're going to read a nonfiction. So we know that when we are talking about nonfiction, that's going to be real, true facts and real information. So this is going to be very different than the other two texts that I've read to you this week. When we read this one, we're going to learn something true. So today we're going to be reading about what real insects can do. So I'm going to show you the pages here. And you can see that different than our last two texts, this has actual photos, we have diagrams, we have charts. So those are things that we definitely see a lot when we read a nonfiction. Now, before I start this, I want you guys to think, so close your eyes. I want you to think, and you can just say this to me, although I really won't hear you, or you can say it to a parent. I'm going to give you 10 seconds, and I want you to name every insect that you can think of and count how many you can name. All right, think first. So think, this is in your brain. All right, you ready? I'm going to give you 10 seconds. I want you to name all the insects that you can. Are you ready? Go. And stop. All right, how many insects did you name? What insects did you name? This is a perfect time of year to be talking about this, right? Because it's spring. And we know that in spring, this is when we see and start to see a lot of insects coming out and a lot of creepy crawly things. My daughters have been looking for worms, and we have been going on hikes since we, really can't go to playgrounds and stuff right now, and looking for insects. So this is a great time to be learning about this. All right, today I'm going to read Meet the Insects. And again, we are going to be reading a nonfiction text and finding out real information about what insects can do. All right, so first I'm going to show you this first page with all of these insects on them. Right? Insects can look so different, can't they? Meet the insects. We can find insects all around the globe. Insects can be lots of shapes, sizes, and colors. There are more insects than any other kind of animal. How can you tell if a bug is an insect? Read to find out. All right, so a couple things that we learned there are insects are the biggest animal group, right? And I think that sometimes we don't think about insects as an animal, but they definitely are. And they are the animal group that has the most. And that kind of makes sense, right? Because they're usually the smallest. So we can fit more of them than we could like a really big animal. All right, next we're going to be reading about the body of an insect. So do you see this heading? That tells me that everything I'm going to read on this page is all about an insect's body. All insects have 6 legs and 3 body parts. All right, say that with me. All insects have 6 legs and 3 body parts. So if you find something that you think is an insect, you need to check those 2 things. Does it have 6 legs and 3 body parts? Insects have no bones. Go like this. Touch your elbow. Touch your skull. Touch your ribs. Those are your bones. Our bodies are made up of a skeleton underneath that are our bones. And that's those hard things that hold up our body, but insects don't have those. The outside of an insect's body is hard. It protects the insect's body. So we have these bones that kind of keep us safe and hold us up, but our skin is soft. Insects are kind of the opposite. They don't have bones on the inside, but they have this hard outer, it's called an exoskeleton, that keeps them safe. Most insects have antennas and wings. So let's look at this diagram. All right, so here is the antenna. Now it said most insects have antennas. So does an insect have to have an antenna? No. This is the insect's head. That's the first body part. The thorax, that's this part here, that's the second body part. And the abdomen, that's the third body part. So remember, 3 body parts. And how many legs? Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So an insect can have wings. It can have antenna, but it has to have 6 legs and 3 body parts. All right, this heading is called insect senses. Quick, can you name your 5 senses? Here's a clue. Smelling. Taste. What do I hear? Hearing. I see you. Sight. And the last one is touch. So in this section, we're going to read all about insect senses. Insects use their senses to find food. A fly smells with its antennas. Go like this, pretend you're a fly. If you were a fly, you would use your antenna to smell food. It tastes with its feet. Could you imagine if you were eating chicken nuggets and you had to taste them with your feet? That's why flies like to land on food. And here's a picture of a fly, an actual fly landing on food. Insects do not see the same as we do. Many insects have more than 2 eyes. A grasshopper has 5 eyes. All right, this is really cool. I'm going to zoom in on this. So a grasshopper, of course, has the 2 eyes that we kind of see when we look at them, but they also have eyes on their antenna and then an extra eye right here in the middle of their head. Now, some insects have even more eyes than that. So insects are different than us, right? They have the same senses, but the way that they use those senses is very different than us. But something that's the same is we use our senses to find food also, right? Even if we couldn't see cookies baking, close your eyes, you could smell them, right? So sometimes we smell food. I know when I make bacon in the morning, my kids start sniffing and they say, I smell bacon, and they want to come eat. So we use our senses to find food also, but in a little bit of a different way. All right, now we're going to look at this chart, and this is just some fun insect facts. Some ants can lift 20 to 100 times their own weight. This ant lifts a leaf. Now we might think, psh, that leaf is so light, but if you were a little ant, that would be very heavy. Ants are super strong. A dragonfly can fly 22 to 30 miles an hour. That's as fast as my car goes sometimes. So that's definitely faster than we can run. So dragonflies, if you ever see one, watch how fast they fly. Let me show you the dragonfly. It's in the middle. Okay, and the last one, termites can build big mounds. They can be up to 30 feet high. Now that's almost as high as your house. So think of that little teeny tiny insect that it's really even hard to see a termite, but together, they actually work together and they build these really huge mounds that are their homes. So insects are amazing. All right, the challenge I gave you yesterday was to retell Fly Guy. Today I have 2 challenges. One, I want you to go tell an adult one or two things that you learned that I read today that you didn't know before about insects. And two, I want you to go outside with an adult, with their permission, and see if you can find an insect, okay? And see if you can find it and check to see, is it an insect? Does it have 3 body parts? And does it have 6 legs? All right, happy Wednesday.